All right, Chad Wilson here with another edition of All Eyes DB Camp, DB School. All right, what we're talking about today is cover 4. We talked about cover 2 last time. I'm going to keep things very basic, a very basic understanding of cover 4. All right, what we have here is your typical spread formation, 2 by 2, meaning 2 receivers to the right, 2 to the left. The back is on the strong side of the quarterback who's in the shotgun. Defensively, we're in your typical 4-3 alignment. So that means 4 defensive linemen, 3 linebackers, 4 guys in the secondary, 2 corners and 2 safeties. So let's talk about the basics of cover 4. All right, what are the corners doing? First of all, your cornerbacks are responsible for a deep quarter, deep 1/4. That's why it's called cover 4, because we're going to end up typically with 4 guys deep covering a quarter of the field. We've broken the field down into quarters, 1/4, 1/4, 1/4, 1/4. So your cornerbacks are going to be responsible for that outside 1/4. All right, so basically they are responsible for that. But where are their eyes? Because it is All Eyes DB Camp, the eyes are important. The cornerbacks are keying this right here, the number 2 receiver, just like they would in cover 2. Now, whereas in cover 2, corner would be responsible for that flat area. So if the number 2 receiver were to come out into the flat in cover 2, the corner would be responsible for that. This changes now when the cornerback is playing cover 4. He's keying number 2. If number 2 were to go inside, and the term for that is disappear, so now he's out of it, he almost goes basically man-to-man on that number 1 guy right there, okay? So he would basically have him man-to-man. For sure, if that number 1 guy were to go deep, cornerback needs to be over the top of that. Okay, we take this away. If number 2 is going straight up this field, he needs to be, the cornerback needs to be in that deep 4th in the event that that number 2 receiver breaks out on a corner route. So the reason I'm telling you that is if number 1, meaning this widest receiver, number 1, this is 1, that's 2, were he to run a short hitch route, let's say, the cornerback is not to jump on that route and be all over it like it's man-to-man. He must now make the call, all right? A lot of times what's called is China. You'll yell China, 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 alerting the guys who have that underneath coverage that there is a hitch route way out there that you need to come and take care of as he drops off into his 1/4 in case that route by number 2 ends up being a corner route. Okay, so corner routes are responsible for a deep 4th, reading number 2. If 2 is up, meaning he's coming up the field, cornerback is up as well. He's in his deep 4th, being ready for the event that number 2 turns that up route, seam route into a corner route. He has to be there. All right, so let's erase this really quick. What's the safety doing? Okay, what's the safety doing? We'll talk about it here on the weak side of the formation. I have this wrong. This should be your strong safety because he's to the strong side of the formation. This should be your free safety. He's to the weak side of the formation. Okay, some people go strong safety, free safety. Other people go left safety, right safety. That doesn't really matter here for the purposes of explaining this coverage. All right, number 2 receiver is coming straight up the field. All right, your free safety in this situation would be responsible for that. So I have him drawn a little bit too far inside here. He'd be more over here, ready to handle that. Okay. If 2 is up, running a seam route, free safety's got that. Free safety's got that, okay? He's all over that. If this guy continues up the field, free safety is all over that. He may get some help from the cornerback, depending on what's happening with the number 1 receiver who's depicted with this letter X right here, okay? He may get some help, not to expect it. So if number 2 is straight up the pike, he's got him, meaning the free safety has got that guy. What happens if number 2 were to disappear in here? Okay, what happens if number 2 were to go inside? Okay, then the free safety throws his eyes out here to number 1, which in this case would be X. Now he's essentially double teaming number one with the cornerback, provided number one is coming up the field. He's now with no more threat from number two up the seam into his zone. He is now essentially working a double team with the cornerback who is outside, okay? The under route by this number two guy will be taken care of by these guys on this side, all right? So those are the basic rules. What if number two were to go outside? What if he were to run a hitch route? Whose responsibility is that? That's where our linebacker comes in. So let me take these routes out. Let me eliminate these routes. What is our linebacker doing? Linebacker, once he gets his read from the offensive lineman that this is a pass, meaning high pad level, he's kicking back, okay, high hat, you'll hear people say that. He gets into a pass set, he's not firing out like it's run, then your outside linebacker now needs to work his way out into this curl area first, as number two is working his way up here. If number two is trying to go up the seam, it'd be nice, it is recommended, it is best if that outside linebacker can collision number two, get a jab on number two, and disrupt him on his run up the field or going into his route. Should number two now run himself into the flat, this is the responsibility of that linebacker. So that's why the corner doesn't jump a flat route. That's why the corner doesn't jump a hitch route, because that linebacker is responsible for that in this particular case. So again, linebacker working his way out to the flat. On his way there, he would collision any receiver that would appear in that area on his way out there. So a flat route by number two is handled by that linebacker. What if number two were to be going straight up the field and number one runs a hitch route? We talked about that in the opener when discussing what the cornerback has. If we have that situation, again, your corner is not going to sit there and jump that hitch route. He's going to yell China, China, China. Who's that China call for? It's for your linebacker to let him know, hey, I have a hitch route out in this flat area which belongs to you. So the linebacker on his way out here is trying to collision number two. If he collisions number two, that's great. You disrupt the route. Anyway, when you hear that China call, when you hear the China call by this cornerback, you are to zoom yourself out there and go take care of that hitch route. Cornerback will fall off, waiting to see what number two does. Free safety is already on number two. He's already on number two. So if number two continues to go up the field, free safety has him. If he breaks out, now your cornerback handles that. Okay, let's go over to this side. Everything's the same on this side, but let's talk about some things that might happen that I did not cover when I was talking about on this side. Here's the biggest thing that is a problem in cover four, and that is this post route right here by number one, and then the corner route here by number two. That's called a cover four beater, all right? It's a really difficult thing to deal with. Here's what's supposed to happen, okay? First of all, it'd be nice, again, if your outside linebacker on his way out into the flat after he gets a pass read from the uncovered lineman or the tackle, it'd be nice if he gets a collision here, a reroute. It'd be great. It helps everything out. It delays things. It slows the timing down. However, what's happening here, again, is that our cornerback is responsible for 1/4 of the field. Okay? And who did I say he was supposed to be reading? Number two. Okay? So as a cornerback is drifting into his quarter of the field, he should have his eyes on number two. So if number two is working his way up the field, then you see him breaking out. What needs to happen for this cornerback is he should be looking to pick up this route. However, he still has this route by number one coming at him. And so now the biggest fear for that cornerback is, I can't jump off on this corner route if I still have a route coming straight at me. Because after all, I am responsible for that deep 1/4. So if I've got a route coming straight at me and then there's another one coming straight at me, which one do I take? Cornerback, you're responsible for that deepest guy in your 1/4 zone. So if he's coming, if number one is coming straight at you, you're responsible for him until he does something else. The something else in this particular case is him breaking over here onto the post. So if you see that corner route coming at you, and now you know number one is going to the post, you have to be disciplined and let this guy go to the post. We'll talk about who has that guy in a minute. And now you're picking up this corner route. Hope I haven't confused you on that. Just to review, cornerback, you know you have a deep fourth. You have the deepest guy in your zone, which is this number one route coming at you until he does something else to leave your quarter. And in this particular instance, we're talking about him breaking to the post. When he breaks to the post, you already have your eyes on number two. If number two is now coming to the outside on a corner route, which is the deepest part in your zone. Okay, sorry, let me just get that off there for a minute. If he's coming on a corner route, which is the deeper part of your zone, you now must fall off on this corner route. Okay, who has the post route? Remember when we talked about over here, if number two goes out, what does the free safety do? He doubles with number one. Well, here's the case. This guy is coming at you, strong safety, and you have him, but now he breaks out this way. It's now a zone. You don't chase that. You don't chase that. You yell out, out, out for your corner, who will now pick up the corner route. And now, strong safety, you must now pick up this number one receiver coming inside on the post. He's coming into your zone. Very much the same way we did over here on this side. If number two were going out, once he goes out, free safety, you are relieved of your duties on number two, and now you are looking to number one and double teaming with the corner outside. In this case, there's no double teaming going on. The corner has to stay outside for number two who's going on the corner route, and strong safety now, you release number two outside because your quarter is not outside, it's inside, and now you throw your eyes to number one. When you see number one coming in here, strong safety, that's your guy. You got to take him. Very tough route because it's happening fast and you got to make split fast decisions. That's why cover four must be repped over and over and over in practice, coaches. If you're trying to run cover four, you must rep this quite often. I'm not a big cover four fan because of this particular reason right here. It has to be repped over and over, and it probably takes you away from running some other coverages. You're either really great at cover four or you're not that good at it because it requires a lot of time and a lot of repetition. So if you're running cover four and you want to be good at it, it's got to be your primary coverage. You got to be a cover four team. That's just my opinion. You've got to be repped over and over and over, or teams can take advantage of it. So what you'll notice is teams that run quarters, that's what they do majority of the time. It's not a coverage that they just bust out every now and then. Okay, now what's your middle linebacker do? Typically, your middle linebacker, like in cover two, after he gets his pass run read from these uncovered linemen and realizes that it's pass, he's got to help out down here in the middle, almost like run the middle. His drop will not be as short as in cover three because there is no post safety. There's no safety aligned in the middle, no safety assigned to the middle. So he's got to help out here. Should this route come in here and the strong safety's a little late on it, Mike Backer needs to be there. Should this post route get up in here somewhere, you can't really expect your Mike to be there, but at least let's make sure it's not a line drive throw. So if he's continuing to get his depth, then we can put a little air on it, and maybe you get a little help from your strong safety there because the ball has to be thrown higher. He has a chance to recover, so on and so forth. I've seen it handled that way. Other people have wanted to keep this Mike Backer a little shallow and wait for the crossers and really rely on the free safety and the strong safety handling anything coming to the middle. This is a situation where you have to know your personnel. Is your Mike Backer athletic? Is your Mike Backer good in taking drops? If he is, you can send him to the middle, and then you find some other ways to cover up the shallow routes. Either you let him go and you let a team have those because you're trying to take away the deeper route, or you drop a lineman, or you run a three-man front and you've got an extra guy down low, or you can do this, keep this Mike Backer on a shallow drop, maybe 5 to 7 to 10 yards deep at the most, and let him go hunt down any of those crossers. I'm not here to determine that. That's a personnel thing that you have to determine. But these are the basics of cover four, the basics. Now, As you start running this, or you start doing a little bit more research on cover 4, there are some little variations and tweaks you can make to this. But on the very basics, for you players new to the game, or just new to coverages in general, or coaches just starting out, these are the very basics of cover 4. This is how this is done. So the last thing you're wondering about is this back. If this back starts going out and releasing here, you have traffic here, you got guys that could cover it. If he comes in here and he runs and he starts going down, starts running down the heart of the defense, well then your Mike backer needs to be on alert for that. Here's the thing. Yep, 5 guys got released if he's coming down the middle. And if your Mike backer needs to, shorten his drop to cover this guy, that means there are less guys blocking. You should get a little bit more pressure and there's less time to throw those deep balls. And again, that's why sometimes you do change up your coverages so some people can't plot on you. But then at the end of the day, these are the basics of cover 4. Feel free to send any comments that you may have on this or any questions. Like I said, there are tweaks to this, and again, not everyone runs doubles. There are trips formations to this. So I'll come out with another video later on where we discuss how cover 4 is played when it's trips, or maybe some checks you can make when you've called cover 4 and a team comes out and trips. Thanks for watching.